Hey now everybody, Jamie here, and I'm going back to one of my favorite lists that I do, talking about games that my family loves to play on our game nights. So let's get down to business. Here's 5 games my family absolutely loves. For sale. Now the first one on the list here is an absolute classic. This one is For Sale. Now normally I don't like auction games, but this particular auction game just does it so right. This game is about buying and selling properties, and you're trying to obviously buy them for a cheap price and sell them for a high price. This game is broken down into 2 phases. In the first phase, you're going to be auctioning off properties. So you'll deal out a number of property cards equal to the number of players, and they're valued between 1 and 30, and they're shuffled up, so you don't know which values are going to come out at what times. And then you go ahead and auction them off. The first player that passes pays half of their money and takes the lowest valued one. And then obviously all the way up until the highest bidder. And then everybody's going to go through the entire deck and take all of those properties. Then you go into the second phase where you're going to deal out money cards onto the table. And people are going to take the property cards that they have and they're going to play one face down and reveal them. The highest valued property is going to take the highest valued money and down to the bottom. That's it. You go through the whole deck until you get rid of all your properties. Whoever has the most money is the winner. Now what makes this game so fantastic is that the random shuffle is the clever mechanism here, because some rounds you're going to get like a 30 and a 2 valued property on the table, and you really don't want to pass first because you're going to get that garbage 2 valued property while somebody else gets a 30. You're going to be bidding it up trying to get the higher valued ones, and you don't want to pass first. But then some rounds it's going to be kind of even. There'll be like a 20 and an 18 and a 15 and a 14, and you're like, well, I don't care if I get the 18 and the 14 are so close, I'll pass first, I don't care. And it's going to be a low bidding round, and it's going to keep changing and going like that the whole way through, and you have to manage your starting money as best you can, because you might run out of money and not be able to take properties. You have to pass first every time, get the garbage cards for the rest of the round. And the second half, it's kind of the same thing. You really have to pay attention to when you play your big valued cards, hoping that you get the big valued money that's on the table. And some of those money cards are actually 0. So you could play a pretty good valued card and take a 0 in some turns. So you have to be real smart about when you play those cards. This game is clever. It's just so elegantly designed. We have an absolute blast every time we play it. I love For Sale. You got to check it out. It is a classic. Point Salad. Now the second one on the list here is one you've absolutely heard of, I'm sure, because it was hot. People were talking about it all over the place, and it's a massive hit with my family. Point salad. Now everybody knows the funny term point salad. That's about Euro games where you score points for everything you do in the game. Well, this is kind of a tongue-in-cheek concept of that, because every single card in the deck has a victory point condition on it. Each card is double-sided. Victory point condition on one side and a vegetable of some sort on the other side. Every victory point condition in the game basically is a combination of set collection of different vegetables. Like you might have the most carrots at the end of the game. Carrots are worth 2 points more. Collect these 3 different kinds of vegetables and you'll score this many points. So on and so forth. Tons of different ones. Every card in the game is different. So this game is just so elegantly designed. It is a brilliant design because it's so simple that it's taught in minutes and you never forget it because it's so easy to play. Yet it's not an easy game to do extremely well in. You really have to pay attention to the different kinds of victory conditions that are out there and the kinds of vegetables that are out there. And you have to be watching when vegetables come out and how many are still maybe in the deck. You have to be paying attention to that too. You have to decide on a strategy. Am I going to get as many victory point conditions as possible and try to satisfy them the best I can? Or am I going to get a few victory point conditions and collect tons and tons of vegetables just to really focus on those victory point conditions? It's such a clever game. Like I said, Point Salad is a brilliant design. The Builders, Middle Ages. Now this next one on the list is one that I haven't played in years. It sat on the shelf. I just completely forgot about it. When I was digging through, I found it, took it to our last game session, and boy am I glad that I did, because this game is better than I even remember. So this one is essentially, you're trying to manage your money so you can build buildings that will score you victory points. And when you hit a certain number of victory points, you go around the table and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. Now, to build a building, you have to take a project card. And the project cards have a recipe of resources on them that you need. And you also can take laborers, and those laborers have a bunch of resources on them. And you have to pay money to put the laborers on the buildings. And when you put enough laborers on it so that all of the recipe of resources is satisfied, the building is constructed. You get a whole bunch of money and you get victory points for it. Now, here's what makes it great is the fact that you need to pay the laborers to put them on the projects, and they're stuck there until the project is complete. And then you get a whole bunch of money back. You sell the building, I guess, and you get a bunch of money. So this one is one about managing money, because if you take one of those gigantic projects like a cathedral or something, it's going to take you a long time to build up the number of architects and laborers and things that you need to build that thing. And if you run out of money halfway through, you're stuck. You have to start taking actions to just take money. And that's kind of a, oops, I screwed up action. But you can still come back from it. That's the neat thing. But once you complete that cathedral, you just get this huge influx of money. Sometimes you're just taking little buildings. You're like nickel and diming it all the way to the end. There's another neat thing in it where some of the things that you construct aren't actually buildings. They're called tools. And when you build them, they give you less money, but they become essentially laborers that you don't have to pay because they're tools. And so you can start using them to build buildings. Man, this game is so simple. It gives you just a little bit of a feeling of a Euro game, but it's still just a simple card game. There's a lot of managing that money, making sure you don't overspend, and you're picking the right buildings so that you'll get just enough money so that you can build this other one. You have to be watching the track of the laborers to see what they can do and paying attention to what buildings you need so that they match up with the laborers you have and the ones that you can get. There's a lot of different things going on in this game in such a simple, elegant design. You got to check this one out. Such a great little game. I love it. The Builders is awesome. Skull. Now, the next one on the list is a party game that every party I take it to, people rave about this thing. It is so much fun. Now, this one was originally called Skull and Roses because every player gets 4 coasters. They look like coasters, essentially. And on the other side, there are 3 of them that have roses on them, and 1 of them has a skull. And what you're going to do every round is you're going to place one of those coasters down in front of you, any one you want. And then the game starts. On your turn, you have 1 of 2 options. You can choose to take another one of your coasters and put it down face down on top. That's it. And it keeps going around, people doing that until someone takes the second option, which is to announce how many coasters that they can turn over before they hit a skull. Now, you're always going to have to turn over your own coasters first, and then you start going out and turning over other people's coasters and hope you don't hit a skull. Now, the next person, they can outbid you. Oh, you said you're going to turn over 3? I can turn over 4. The next person, like, yeah, I'm going 5. I can turn over 5. Now, this game is great because it's all about bluffing. It's all about trying to get people to do dumb things. You're talking people into it. And the most fun about this game is goading people into doing things they don't want to do. You know, the bid is at 4 and it goes to that next person and they're like, I don't know, 5's a lot. I don't know. And you're like, come on, you can do 5. 5's easy. Do 5. Everybody's like, do 5. Come on, come on. And it's so fun when they go like, all right, 5. And then everybody's like, I'm passing. I ain't going to 6. And then they turn over a skull and everybody's laughing and hooting and hollering. It's so great. Man, it's an awesome bluffing game. It's super fast. It's super easy to teach. And everybody loves it. And any age can play this game. Man, it is just a wonderful, wonderful game. Play it at conventions, play it at game stores, play it at your family game nights, your family reunions, whatever, and everybody's going to have a blast. And the more people playing, the better the game is. Wonderful game. Check it out. Survive Escape from Atlantis. Now, this last one on the list is the absolute first game that I played with my family after I got into this whole hobby board gaming thing, and that is Survive Escape from Atlantis. Now, this one is an old game from the 80s that Stronghold Games brought back, and it was a massive hit. Everybody loves this game. The concept of the game is there's a big island, you have all your meeples on it, which are the tribesmen on the islands, and there's a volcano that's exploding, and the whole island is sinking into the ocean, and you need to get your meeples off the island into boats, get those boats to the safe islands at the corners, while all the other players are trying to eat you with sharks and sea monsters and knocking over your boats with whales. This game is so much fun. Everybody loves playing this game, particularly kids, because it's so much fun that you know, dad and mom are loading up dudes on this little boat and you're sailing them away, and then the kid rolls the die and they get to move the sea monster over and eat the whole boat, and they're laughing and having a good time. This game, it's not just a silly romp. There is actually some strategy to it as well. You're trying to get victory points from the different guys you get to the island, so you're trying to work together with other players. Hey, we take that boat together. We can work together to move that boat to the island. And of course, you can go back on that. You can jump off the boat and have a sea monster come in and eat the ship while you're in the water. But hey, listen, there's a lot of dastardly dealings that can go on in this game, but there's also a lot of strategy and a lot of cooperation if you want to have that. You could play to any level you want. You can play super cutthroat, or you can play help out the kids to get to the island so they have a good time. The production is fun. It's got just enough meat to it that it feels good playing it as a hobby gamer, but it's just simple enough that anybody in the whole wide world, whether they play games or not, can play this game and play it well. This one is one of my favorite family hobby games that I own, and this is a staple that everybody should have in their collection. So check out Survive Escape from Atlantis. All right, gang, well, that is 5 more games from my collection that my family absolutely loves. I hope you found some games on this list that you could take back, play with your family, and have a great time as well. And until next time, have a good one, everybody.
Thanks so much, everybody. If you've enjoyed this video, please do us a giant favor by subscribing to the channel and clicking that wacky bell icon. If you're into board games, miniatures games, role-playing games, we have a bunch of audio podcasts you might enjoy. You can find those at thesecretcabal.com or on iTunes and Stitcher.